A second non-studio video in a week. You guys must be lucky or something. But can you guess what I'm sitting in? I'll tell you next. Don't go anywhere. Hi everyone, it's Nikki Gordon-Bloomfield here from Transport Evolved, and one day after I told you about the 12-volt battery thing going on with our Nissan Leaf, I'm sitting back in the staff 2002 Toyota RAV4 EV, or rather the 2002 Toyota RAV4 EV that belongs to the Gordon-Bloomfield family. The other one, the Walton Elliott Toyota RAV4 EV from the same year, is doing well in the state of Washington, a little bit further up the road from us. But this one has been off the road now for a couple of months, and the reason has been down to the fact that the battery pack has been, well, a little sickly. So for those who don't know, the 2002 Toyota RAV4 EV, like the 2003 Toyota RAV4 EV, has a nickel metal hydride battery pack, and it's impossible to buy a replacement battery pack, a new battery pack for these cars. And that's to do with the patent troll. And in this case, the patent troll for this particular patent that governs the large-scale nickel metal hydride batteries is in fact a certain oil company by the name of Chevron. And Chevron owns the patents to the batteries that this car uses, and it means that you can't make new batteries for this car, not easily. So this car is rolling now on 15-year-old batteries, and the reason why I'm looking to my left all the time is because I've got a little battery monitor system here, and I'm keeping my eye on the lowest voltage, the lowest module voltage in the pack. And when that gets to 12 volts, I basically can't do any more driving. I've got to then recharge the batteries up and wait for the pack to slowly wake up. Now, I know what you're all going to say. You're all going to say things like, well, why are you driving a 15-year-old EV? Well, it's part of history and why we want to own it and keep it on the road and keep it operational. But also because I love this car. I love the Toyota RAV4 EV. It's a fun little car to drive. It does require a little bit of extra work on my part because I have to monitor the batteries. I have to make sure that I don't do anything stupid with it. I have to help the car battery pack wake up gradually. And if you think we've been here before, it's because we had. We did have a replacement pack put in some time ago, but that replacement pack, unfortunately, did not go as it should have gone, and the pack eventually self-destructed itself. So I'm working very hard to make sure that this doesn't happen with this particular pack. So what can I tell you about the RAV4 EV from 2002? Well, it's based on the first generation Toyota RAV4. So this one has got comfortable seating for four. You can put a fifth person in the middle, but they have to be very small. And it's got enough range on a good day. When it's got a proper pack in that's fully woken up, it should still be able to do 70 or 80 miles. At the moment, this pack has a 0.4 volt variation between the highest and the lowest battery in the pack. So we need to be really careful about that. And we're just being mindful of that as you're using the car. But it's, you know, it looks like a standard RAV4. You wouldn't notice from the front unless you notice that the grille is slightly different on the front of this car. And unlike the petrol or the gasoline versions, or the diesel versions even, which have the spare wheel mounted on the rear door, this model has the spare wheel, and it's a space saver wheel, mounted under the bottom of the car. And the rear door is just flat, and it's designed to help ensure absolute best aerodynamic capabilities when the car's being driven along the road. Now, I've been instructed to drive this car very carefully, at least until the batteries are woken up. So I'm feathering the pedal. And I would like to say at the moment it's nice to have the car back, but I'm being super ginger with it because I don't want to have the same problems that we've had previously with it. So I'm being very gentle indeed. Our Nissan Leaf will be our long distance car. And we will make a decision at some point as to whether we keep this, whether we put in we'll probably put a Tesla battery pack or some other battery pack in it in the future as a kind of a project car. But for now, that's where we're going with this car. And, you know, we've got that 0.4 variance in battery pack, which is partly why I'm eyeing this so carefully. I've been assured that 40 miles range today should be doable. So I'm going to do actually about 40 miles worth of driving. And then I'll get home, I'll put it on charge. I've been instructed for the time being, probably best not to let the pack drop below 50% until it's fully woken up. I've been told that will take about 1,000 miles worth of driving. And at that point, my voltages and everything else should have evened out. The car should be able to go a little bit further. And then we'll be able to start relaxing and maybe driving this car a little bit further. But for now, it's all really quite exciting. I want to make sure that obviously I don't do anything to break the car. And hopefully the balancing charges and whatnot will happen back at the house. The other fly in the ointment is that this car can only really charge at my house. There's a couple of other places in Portland where I can charge this up, but they're not official charging stations for this car, because this car doesn't use a J1772 connector. It uses an inductive paddle charging system. In fact, a small inductive charging paddle. And so I can only charge where there are inductive paddle charging stations. And the only ones I know of is at my house. The place I had this car just now, I picked it up from, which is a repair centre in town that happens to also kind of do a bit of battery repair in their spare time. And there are, I think, 1 or 2 other RAV4 EV owners in the area who've got the same year car. So, yeah, it's a little bit of a car that is a bit quirky. It's definitely not a car that you'd want to drive every single day, day in, day out, but it's one that I'm more than happy to use, to experiment with, and it's a good second car. So that's where we're at with this. Tomorrow is Friday, which means that I will be doing a usual TEN Transport Evolved News Roundup show. So that's really all I have to say for you today. So yay, the car is back. There's going to be some updates on this, and I'm going to be very, very careful. Now, if you excuse me, I'm going to continue driving in traffic, and I'm going to be monitoring my voltages as I go. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you like what we do, please consider supporting through patreon.com/Transport Evolved. I put a link in the description below, and there's a clickable link at the end of the video. As always, don't forget to keep evolving. Bye.